She stumbled into the hallway, her silk gown whispering against her legs. Rosalie's stomach twisted. Something was wrong. She reached Dapo's door, her knuckles brushing the wood, then froze. Voices, Dapo's, and Tasha's. Already gave her the first one. She's feeling it now. A low chuckle. Good. The second dose will finish her before the priest even starts. Rosalie's breath vanished. Second dose? Finish her? Tasha's voice dripped greed. And then her money, her shares, her jets, all of it. Ours. A beat. Then the wet sound of a kiss. Rosalie's knees buckled, not from the poison, from the truth. Her fiancé, her best friend. They hadn't just betrayed her, they'd already killed her. Rosalie's legs betrayed her first. They trembled, violently, muscles liquefying under the poison's bite. Her bouquet hit the carpet, roses scattering like drops of blood. Don't scream. Don't let them know you know. Rosalie's laughter sparkled through the bridal suite, blending with the clink of champagne flutes and the bass of Beyoncé's Love on Top shaking the walls. Her girls surrounded her, hips swaying, hands clapping as they hyped her up. Their billionaire queen in her final moments as a single woman. Babe, Dapo is gonna lose his damn mind when he sees you. Tasha grinned, adjusting Rosalie's custom 24-karat gold veil. Rosalie smirked, but the movement sent a sharp, unexpected throb behind her eyes. She blinked. Weird. She'd felt fine an hour ago. Now her skin prickled with a strange heat, her fingers tingling as she reached for her champagne. You good, Rosie? Tasha asked, too sweet. Just nerves, Rosalie lied, forcing a smile. Tasha's gaze flickered, something dark, something eager, before she pressed a cold glass into Rosalie's hand. Here, hydrate. You don't want to pass out before I do. Rosalie drank. The water tasted bitter. 10 minutes later, the room spun, just slightly. Rosalie gripped the vanity, her diamond rings digging into the wood. What the hell is wrong with me? She caught her reflection, flushed cheeks, pupils too wide, like she was drunk without drinking. Y'all, give me a sec, she mumbled, waving off her bridesmaid's giggles. She needed air. No, she needed Dapo. Just the thought of him steadied her. His laugh, his hands, the way he'd whispered forever against her lips last night. She stumbled into the hallway, her silk gown whispering against her legs. Rosalie's stomach twisted. Something was wrong. She reached Dapo's door, her knuckles brushing the wood, then froze. Voices, Dapo's, and Tasha's. Already gave her the first one. She's feeling it now. A low chuckle. Good. The second dose will finish her before the priest even starts. Rosalie's breath vanished. Second dose? Finish her? Tasha's voice dripped greed. And then her money, her shares, her jets, all of it. Ours. A beat. Then the wet sound of a kiss. Rosalie's knees buckled, not from the poison, from the truth. Her fiancé, her best friend. They hadn't just betrayed her, they'd already killed her. Rosalie's legs betrayed her first. They trembled, violently, muscles liquefying under the poison's bite. Her bouquet hit the carpet, roses scattering like drops of blood. Don't scream. Don't let them know you know. She clutched her stomach, fingers digging into the lace as fire spread through her veins. Her eyes widened, the whites stark against her dark skin, pupils swallowed by black. The world tilted, spun, and suddenly the floor was against her cheek. Crawl. She dragged herself forward, one elbow, then the other, silk tearing under her nails. Every gasp burned. Every heartbeat threatened to be her last. But she couldn't scream, couldn't risk them hearing. So she bit her tongue until copper filled her mouth, muffling the agony as she inched toward the only people left who wouldn't sell her bones for profit. Her father and stepmother. The knock was weak, desperate. 3 ragged thuds against the oak. Inside, her stepmother, young, vibrant, barely 35, paused mid-laugh at some joke Rosalie's father had made. Did you hear? Then, the sound of fabric slithering against wood. She yanked the door open. Jesus! Rosalie collapsed over the threshold, her gown a funeral shroud around her. Rosalie! Baby! What? Her father's voice cracked, hands grabbing her shoulders. But Rosalie's eyes were already ghost white, her lips peeling back in a silent snarl as the poison chewed through her nerves. A whisper, wet with blood. Want to kill me? Then, the scream. Her stepmother's, "Somebody help!" shattered the hallway, bouncing off crystal chandeliers. Doors slammed open. Guests poured out, gasping. And Dapo, perfect, loyal Dapo, arrived like a scripted hero. He shoved through the crowd, face twisted in horror, but his eyes were bright with victory. Rosalie! No! He dropped to his knees, gathering her limp body against his chest. Tears, warm, practiced, honed in front of mirrors, cascaded down his face. Baby, talk to me, please! His voice broke on cue, fingers stroking her hair for the audience. You can't, you promised me forever. A perfect line. Award-worthy. Because Dapo knew the second dose was coming, and Rosalie's fortune would be his before sunset. Here's your rewritten scene with heightened tension, emotional depth, and seamless flow while maintaining authenticity. Dapo's voice cracked through the chaos as he shoved past guests, veins bulging in his neck. Move! Get the damn ambulance now! I won't lose my wife! Tears streamed down his face in perfect rivulets, his designer suit sleeves wiping at them messily. The performance was flawless. The trembling lips, the shattered voice, the way his knees threatened to buckle as he reached for Rosalie's limp hand. Tasha appeared at his side, her manicured fingers gently squeezing his shoulder. She's strong. She'll make it, she murmured, her voice thick with pretend sorrow. Around them, bridesmaids dissolved into hysterics, their carefully applied makeup now black rivers down their cheeks. Two burly uncles lifted Rosalie's lifeless form, her once vibrant wedding gown now a death shroud dragging across the hotel's polished floors. I'm going with her, Dapo declared, already moving toward the ambulance until Rosalie's grandmother stepped forward, her aged frame trembling with authority. No, my child, the hospital doesn't need a crowd. Her wise eyes narrowed slightly at how quickly Dapo's protests died. Tasha smoothly slid into the back seat, cradling Rosalie's head in her lap as the ambulance doors slammed shut. The moment they moved, her phone vibrated. Dapo's message glowed in the dim light. It's working. Plans will be finalized soon. Her lips twitched upward before she caught herself, quickly replacing it with a mask of concern when the EMT glanced her way. At the hospital, pure bedlam. Rosalie's father paced like a caged lion, his usually impeccable suit wrinkled beyond recognition. Not my baby, not like this, he muttered, running shaking hands through his hair. Her stepmother, young enough to be his daughter but fierce in her devotion, stood frozen, tears silently carving paths down her face as churchwomen surrounded her with murmured prayers and handkerchiefs. Tasha took a seat in the corner, perfectly positioning herself to observe everything while appearing grief-stricken. She dabbed at dry eyes with a tissue, her foot bouncing with barely contained excitement beneath the chairs. Each time a nurse walked by, she'd let out a carefully timed sob. 5 agonizing hours later, the doctor emerged, his scrubs damp with sweat. The God you serve is good today, he announced, prompting a collective gasp. She's stable, weak, but recovering. We'll need to monitor her closely, but she should regain full health. The celebration was immediate. Hugs, prayers, joyful weeping. Everyone except Tasha, whose face momentarily twisted in disgust before she schooled her features. Her fingers flew across her phone. She's fine. Recovery expected. Across the room, Dapo's phone buzzed. His reaction was instantaneous. Fuck! Shit! Exploding from his lips before he could stop himself. Every head turned. Quick as a snake, he covered, dropping to his knees. "Oh, my beautiful wife!" he wailed, the picture of relieved hysteria. The crowd ate it up, murmuring about what a devoted husband he was, how tragic this beautiful day had become. No one noticed how Tasha's nails dug into her palms hard enough to draw blood. No one saw Dapo's jaw clench when he thought no one was looking. Their perfect plan had hit a snag, but the game wasn't over yet. Rosalie might have survived the first round, but death has patience, and so did they. The hospital room door creaked open. Dapo stood there, disheveled, his usually polished appearance ruined by dark circles under his eyes and a shirt wrinkled from hours of fake grieving. His breath came in overacted gasps, one hand clutching his chest like his heart might give out at any second. Rosalie's mother shot up from her chair, her face hardening. "Dapo, no!" He staggered forward, playing the devastated fiancé perfectly. "I had to see her. I can't just—" "You will kill yourself sitting here," she snapped, cutting him off. "The doctor said no stress. Look at you." And he did look terrible, by design. His skin was slick with sweat, his fingers trembling as he reached for Rosalie's limp hand. "Baby." His voice cracked. A perfect tear rolled down his cheek. The room watched, pitying. Only Tasha saw the quick glance he stole at the IV drip, checking his work. Rosalie's father stepped in, grip firm on Dapo's shoulder. "Son, go home." Dapo let himself be led away, shoulders slumped in false defeat. At the door, he turned back, eyes glossy with manufactured tears. "I love her," he whispered. And then he was gone. Performance. Outside, the moment the elevator doors closed, Dapo's face went blank. He pulled out his phone, typing fast. "They bought it. She's alone now, except for the nurses. Do it tonight." A reply came instantly. "She won't see sunrise." Dapo smirked, tucking the phone away as he stepped into his car. Call. The hospital parking lot was bathed in the golden-orange glow of evening, the last streaks of sunlight fading behind the city skyline. Inside the family car, Rosalie's parents sat hunched over a phone screen, their exhausted faces illuminated by the harsh blue light of the video call. Tasha held the phone steady, her expression the perfect mask of concern as Dapo's face, pale, strained, appeared on the screen. "They said her vitals are stable, but she's not waking up yet," Rosalie's mother whispered, her voice fraying at the edges. Dapo's hand visibly shook as he dragged it down his face. I can't lose her. Not like this." His breath hitched, deliberately unsteady. The picture of a man on the verge of collapse. A lie. He had already come and gone from the hospital earlier, slipping in unnoticed to press a chaste, cold kiss to Rosalie's forehead when no one was looking. "We're in this together," he had murmured to her unconscious form. Now, on the call, he let his voice crack. "The doctors, what are they saying?" "Exactly." Tasha's fingers tightened around the phone. "They think it might be some kind of delayed reaction, maybe stress, maybe... or poison." Rosalie's father cut in, his voice hollow. A beat of silence. Dapo's eyes flickered, just for a fraction of a second, before flooding with tears. No, that's not..." He clutched his chest, his breathing suddenly ragged. I can't breathe." The performance was flawless. Rosalie's mother gasped. "Dapo, calm down, your heart..." "We'll call you back," Tasha said quickly, ending the call before his panic attack could escalate. As the screen went dark, she exhaled, long and slow. Phase 1 was complete. Back in Rosalie's room, the night shift moved quietly. Dr. Lisa, young, sharp, with a gaze that missed nothing, studied the latest blood work, her frown deepening. The results didn't add up. Rosalie's symptoms pointed to something deliberate, something fast-acting. She was about to leave when, "Doctor!" The whisper was barely audible, but it stopped her cold. Rosalie's eyes were open, tears welled, spilling over as she rasped, They gave me something. I heard them. The pills, the injections, they want me dead. Dr. Lisa's pulse spiked. Who? Dapo and Tasha. A beat. Then, we need proof, Dr. Lisa said, her mind already racing. A plan took shape. They adjusted the monitors to show erratic vitals. Hidden cameras were discreetly positioned, and Rosalie closed her eyes again, playing her part. The hospital's automatic doors hissed shut behind Dr. Lisa as she stepped into the humid night air. Her 12-hour shift had ended 20 minutes ago, but the image of Rosalie's erratic blood work still burned behind her eyelids. Something was wrong, medically wrong, about that bride's condition. As she fumbled for her car keys, movement near the ambulance bay caught her attention. A figure in a familiar peach-colored dress, Tasha, the bridesmaid who'd insisted on staying overnight. But why was she outside at 2:17 a.m.? Dr. Lisa froze behind a concrete pillar as a black SUV with tinted windows glided into the loading zone without headlights. The driver's door opened, revealing a broad-shouldered man in dark clothes. Even from 20 feet away, Lisa saw the way Tasha's posture changed. The nervous glance over her shoulder, the quick hand gesture as something small passed between them. The exchange took less than 5 seconds. A metallic glint, maybe a vial, disappeared into Tasha's clutch before she hurried back inside, heels clicking rapidly on the pavement. The SUV peeled away before Lisa could memorize the plates. Her fingers tightened around her keys. This wasn't a social visit. That was a transaction. And whatever just changed hands wasn't medicine, not with that furtive urgency, not at this hour. Lisa's medical mind raced through possibilities as she watched through the glass doors. Tasha was already at the elevator, that damn clutch pressed tightly against her ribs like contraband. The doctor made her decision. Instead of turning toward the parking lot, she pulled out her hospital badge and followed her patient's would-be killer back inside. Before we continue, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. What's coming next will shock you. Dapo and Tasha think they've won. Rosalie has other plans. And Dr. Lisa? She just became the most dangerous player in this game. Dr. Lisa's footsteps echoed softly as she followed Tasha back into the hospital, her medical instincts screaming that something was wrong. Yet when she peered into the private family lounge, Tasha sat calmly eating a salad, scrolling through her phone like any concerned friend would. For a moment, Lisa hesitated. Maybe she'd imagined the exchange outside. Maybe the stress of the long shift was making her paranoid. She turned back toward the parking lot, the night air cold against her skin. But sleep wouldn't come. At dawn, she returned, drawn by an unease she couldn't name. The security room footage told a different story entirely. At 3:17 a.m., while Tasha kept watch in the hallway, a figure in black, face obscured by a surgical mask and hood, had slipped into Rosalie's room. The timestamp showed the intruder moving with practiced precision toward the IV drip, syringe glinting in the dim light. Only the sudden arrival of a nurse had sent them fleeing through the window. Rosalie's breath hitched as she watched the playback, tears cutting silent paths down her hollowed cheeks. Each droplet carried memories of charity galas funded from her inheritance, college tuitions paid for staff members' children, the orphanage she built in her grandmother's name. Every kindness had been repaid with betrayal. Dr. Lisa turned the monitor off, the screen going dark like the hope in Rosalie's eyes. "Not everyone treasures goodness," she said quietly. "Some people see light and immediately want to extinguish it." The plan formed in the heavy silence between them. The deception, a carefully calibrated cocktail of drugs to mimic death without risk, slowed pulse, cooled skin, shallow breathing. The announcement. Dr. Lisa would personally call Rosalie's father first, her medical authority giving credibility to the lie. The watch, hidden cameras in the morgue, the funeral home, every place the vultures would gather to pick at her bones. As the sun rose, Tasha's video call to Dapo showed her applying mascara, her voice a whisper. It worked. She's gone. The glee in his responding laugh never reached his eyes. They darted left, right, already counting money that would never be his. Meanwhile, in the sterile hospital room, Rosalie closed her eyes as Dr. Lisa prepared the first injection. The medicine burned going in, not just chemicals, but the searing pain of truth. The world thought Rosalie Uche was dead. Let them believe it, for now. Rosalie's grand living room had become a stage for false grief. Her husband, Dapo, stood closest to the coffin, his shoulders shaking with sobs that never reached his eyes. Her siblings clutched each other, their tears conveniently timed for the lawyer's attention. The best friend, Tasha, dabbed at dry cheeks with a handkerchief, her gaze flickering toward the family safe. Even her father and stepmother played their parts, his face ashen, her hands trembling. But Rosalie knew better. She had loved them, trusted them, given them everything. And in return, they couldn't even wait for her body to cool before eyeing her fortune. The lawyer, a steel-eyed man who had handled the Uche family's affairs for decades, cleared his throat. Rosalie's will has specific conditions. The room froze. It will be read 5 days from now, after each of you spends one night alone, keeping vigil with her. A beat of silence. Then, outrage. 5 nights? Her brother exploded. This is absurd. She's gone. Why drag this out? Her stepmother hissed. The lawyer didn't blink. Those are her terms. No vigil, no inheritance. Dapo's jaw tightened. Tasha's fingers twisted in her scarf. But they nodded. They'd outplay along. What they didn't know, that a coffin's silk lining hid microphones, sensitive enough to catch a whisper. The portrait of Rosalie's late grandmother, its eyes concealed cameras. And in the private clinic downstairs, Dr. Lisa monitored Rosalie's slowed but steady vitals, ready to intervene. Most importantly, Rosalie heard every word, every greedy murmur, every calculated tear, every betrayal, and when the time came, she would answer them all.